Behind every great meal you have at a restaurant or hotel, there's a supply chain just racing against the clock. It's this super high stakes world where timing is absolutely everything. So, what happens when the very technology that's supposed to be holding it all together starts to break? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. And honestly, that's not an exaggeration at all. For hotels, restaurants, and caterers, the whole HORECA ecosystem, a single, tiny delay in getting ingredients can set off a chain reaction of chaos. I mean, it messes with service, it tanks revenue, and it just creates this massive headache in an environment that literally runs on precision. And that is the core problem we're looking at here. There was this B2B procurement platform built to solve all that chaos for businesses across Bangalore. But the crazy thing is, as it got more and more successful, it was on the verge of creating its own crisis, a digital one. So the idea was huge, right? They wanted to create one single place for businesses to source literally everything they needed. It connected all the suppliers, the inventory, the ordering, and with Scootsa Logistics handling the deliveries, it promised something every kitchen desperately needs: faster, more predictable deliveries. And wow, it took off. The platform was a massive hit. But as more and more businesses started to depend on it, that explosive growth started to reveal some pretty serious cracks in the foundation. The backend systems were just buckling under the weight and complexity of it all. And you gotta understand, this wasn't like people buying a new pair of shoes. This was high-frequency, business-critical stuff. We're not talking about one-off purchases. These are daily essential orders where a system failure is just not an option. And during peak hours, the volume became absolutely extreme. So let's break down what was actually going wrong. You had businesses placing these same huge orders every single day. The system was trying to track real-time inventory from dozens of different suppliers all at once. And on top of all that, it was getting hammered by these massive load spikes during peak ordering times, which of course created major bottlenecks with logistics. It was a perfect storm. Right, so here's the big realization they had. The team figured out they couldn't just keep adding cool new features and bells and whistles. The entire mission had to shift. The number one priority, the only thing that mattered, was building a backend that could deliver consistency and resilience for an entire city's food industry. Okay, so how did they fix this mess? That brings us to the solution. The company teamed up with IT Idle Technologies to completely re-engineer the backend from the ground up. And we're not talking about putting a Band-Aid on it. This was a full-on rebuild, with a laser focus on making it stable and performant. So for this rebuild, they went with some serious heavy hitters. They chose powerful languages like Java and Go with Spring Boot. They used Amazon Web Services for that elastic, scalable infrastructure, and Amazon DynamoDB for its incredibly fast database performance. They brought out the big guns. But listen, this is really important. The specific technologies, they were just the tools for the job. The real game-changing transformation wasn't about the tech stack. It was all about redesigning how the system behaved by building a new set of rules right into its very core. Okay, first up, a concept called idempotent processing. Now, stick with me, it sounds complicated, but the idea is actually genius. It basically makes sure that if a panicked chef accidentally hits the order button 3 times in a row, the system is smart enough to know it should only process it once. Just like that, the risk of duplicate orders and all the data chaos that comes with them, gone. All right, next on the list, asynchronous workflows. This was huge. It decoupled all the different parts of the system so they could work on their own. So if one part of the system got stuck, say a delay in the logistics module, it didn't freeze up the entire operation. Ordering could keep going, inventory could keep updating, everything didn't come to a grinding halt. And the third piece of the puzzle was something called defined state transitions. Think of it like a super strict rulebook for every single order. An order could only move from placed to confirmed to shipped in that exact sequence. No skipping steps. This brought rock-solid consistency and prevented all those weird, unexpected errors, even when things got crazy busy. So after all that work, after putting this new foundation in place, did it actually pay off? Let's take a look at the results of moving from a system that was, frankly, fragile to one that was truly resilient. The difference was, well, it was night and day. Before, you had constant system failures, inconsistent data, and performance that was all over the place. After, total stability.
Orders were consistent, inventory was dead on accurate, and the new design could scale up or down without breaking a sweat.
And this wasn't just some techie stuff happening in the background. The impact on the business was huge, and it was immediate. Order processing became totally reliable. Inventory accuracy shot way up, which is absolutely critical for both suppliers and buyers. And operational disruptions, they were pretty much eliminated. The new system even helped the procurement and logistics teams work together better.
So what's the big lesson here? What can we all take away from this story? Because this really goes way beyond just food tech and applies to any B2B platform out there.
It really boils down to this. In the B2B world, your customers aren't just buying a product from you. They are literally betting their own business operations on your service. So reliability isn't some nice-to-have feature on a checklist. It is the absolute foundation of the trust you build with your clients. Full stop. Look, what this whole case study proves is that you can build systems that grow with you. It's totally possible to design a backend that doesn't just scale for the sake of bigger numbers, but is built to support real-world, high-pressure operations with total confidence. And that really leaves us with one final, very important question to ask ourselves about our own businesses. As you scale and grow, is your technology a source of strength that's actually building trust with your customers, or is it a ticking time bomb, slowly breaking it?